Hi guys, welcome to class. So today we're going to have a debate. It should be very, very interesting for you to practice your speaking. It's designed for advanced speakers, advanced learners, but as usual, everyone is welcome and we'll adapt to your level accordingly and things like this. So it should be quite active, it should be quite interesting. And Chow, I've just seen that you've replied on Facebook, so we could actually start with this. That's quite interesting. How are you today, Chow?
I'm sorry.
How are you today? Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Not bad.
Perfect, cool. Yeah, so good to speak with you. And Dennis, how are you? Can you hear?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear?
Yeah.
Perfect,
Hello,
cool.
everyone. Hello, Martin. Hello, Ciao.
Perfect, good.
Hello,
Good that
hello.
you joined. Hello, Chow says hello. Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so we're going to start with well, it's going to be a debate in this session, and we're going to follow up from something that was happening on Facebook earlier. And Chow commented that there's no middle class in China. What I want to say is there a middle class anywhere in the world now, or is the wealth divide growing to such an extent that there can only be rich people or poor people? Is there such a thing as a middle class in your countries? So, Dennis, what would you say?
Yes. Yes. Maybe in comparison. In comparison, yeah.
Yep,
That's good.
in comparison. In comparison.
In comparison with European or maybe US standards, it's not such a middle class. But yeah, it exists in Russia.
And
But I think it exists in China too. I can't imagine a very big society without middle class.
So you're saying it's natural, it's going to be there in every society. But what defines a middle class person in Russia? So is it based on money, or is it based on education, or is it based on job? What defines a middle class person in Russia?
Your money and your job, of course, because it's connected with each other. And about education, I don't know. I don't think so, because there is a lot of really poor people with university education, for example, and a lot of people without education and all, rich people without education and all. And in Russia, I think you don't need university education to be rich, to have your own business.
Yeah. So it's really about money. So is it about salary or is it about money that you have in the bank? For example, if um, dad was an oil tycoon or owned one of the gas plants or something in Russia, then left you all the money, and you inherited this money, can you be middle class by inheriting money, or is it only on money that you earn yourself? And is it about salary or money you've got in the bank?
No, money which you have, just in general, all money you have.
Yep. So as soon as you save a certain amount of money, you get into this category of middle class, and it doesn't matter as long as you don't lose this money, you will always stay in this class.
If you, I'm sorry, if you.
So, for example, if you I don't know, yeah. So if you suddenly win the lottery, okay, and you get a certain amount of money, as long as
Yeah,
that goes in the bank and you
I
don't
get it.
lose it, you will be middle class.
Until you have money, you are in middle class. So maybe some kind of thing like statures, like I don't know, some kind of aristocracy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist in Russia now. Until you have money, you are middle class, and if
Okay.
you don't, you become a poor man. But it's not about even money, about apartments, about your home. So it's also uh, it's also how can I say, it also verb and who you are. It also shows who you are.
Yeah.
How can I say?
So it's not just about the money. It's maybe can it also be about attitude? So for example, do middle class people do a different thing to working class people or to the elite? Yeah. So the upper class. Do they behave in different ways, or is it just about money?
I think in Russia, middle class and working class, it's the same. There is no such a big difference.
Okay, so
To speak about money, they earn approximately maybe the same.
So
The same.
yeah, so a worker, for example, in a factory, would be considered the same as a lawyer.
Not a lawyer, of course, but if this person earn enough money, he's in the middle class.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so that's cool. And I'd say, yeah, to a certain extent, it's the same in the UK, where it's about money as well. You don't have to go to university to get a business, for example. Yeah, things like this. And business people are considered to be middle class, even though sometimes you don't know how much money the business people earn, and it could be a failing business. But society looks at them as kind of middle class people and stuff. But
Yeah, forum maybe sometimes just a waste enough time. It's better to just spend this time on your business and not on your education.
Yeah,
It's it need a very long time.
Yeah, so that's the thing
Years.
that they talk about in the UK as well. Yeah, so is university education worth it and things like this? Yeah, so for certain things. But Vyacheslav, I replied to you. I think you watched this on YouTube, right? So a couple of days ago, I replied to you. But as I was writing to you, I was trying to work out how to pronounce your name. And can you please tell me?
It's actually really hard for English-speaking people to pronounce it. You can call me Dade, just Dade.
Dave, what did you say?
Dade.
Dade.
Yep.
Okay, could you say it though via your real name, just to try me? Okay, I'll try it.
Okay. It's Vyacheslav.
Vyacheslav.
Yep.
Is that okay? Vyacheslav. Yep. Okay, I'll try and remember
Yeah,
it.
it's good. It's good, Mark.
Oh, is it Russian name as well? Yeah. So.
Yep. Yes, it's Russian.
And where are you from in Russia?
I'm not from Russia. I'm from Latvia.
Latvia. Ah, okay. So it's not. It is a Russian name, but you speak Latvian.
I speak Russian and Latvian.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so bilingual. Okay, so welcome, Vyacheslav. Okay, perfect. Good that you joined. And Igor,
it's
another.
Really good. Yeah.
And Igor, another Russian speaker. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. What do you think about this as well in your country? Can you define a middle class person?
Middle class? It's
Yes.
I think it's people who have enough money to live, who have enough money to pay for their bills. They have a place where to live. A good, how we can say, average place to live. Yeah, not so good, not so bad.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, an average apartment or average house.
Yeah, an average place, apartment, house, and they have enough money to give to their children. Yeah, it's correct to say to give to their children. Or we can say
to provide for their children. Yeah, in general terms, to provide for their children. So they have enough money to provide.
To provide to their children. Future, how can I say future? What?
To invest in their children's future. So that could be, for example, for education or anything else that helps their children. Yeah, so they have enough money to invest in their children's future. Okay, but is it about money, just money that the person earns, or is it about status, things like education levels and stuff?
It's
and whether or not they like to go to the theatre. Yes, that's a big one.
Oh. It depends on each person, but I think here in my country, usually people have this kind of education. They have most of the people. They have education. I mean, university degree or what is lower than university? College. Yeah.
Well, it depends because in the UK we have school, college, university, but in America they have
college.
school and college. So,
yeah. So the same as in UK. The college is lower than university, so most of the people they have or either college or university degree, most. So it's not divided by studies. So the most of the people they have studies. So it's divided by money, by how much money they earn each month. And if, for example, you have this amount of money, you can live without any problems. Any big problems,
be middle class, yeah. So to live comfortably, to not be struggling.
Relatively comfortably, because always you will say that not enough money. I want to buy this, I want to buy that, or I want to eat better food, more expensive food. So
yeah, but relatively comfortably, yeah. So enough that you're not on the streets. Okay, so that's interesting. Who would define themselves at the moment as middle class in their country? So, Alberto's just joined us. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Good that you joined. I don't know how when you joined, but we're talking about this kind of if a middle class exists in our countries, or if the wealth divide is so big that there's just rich people and poor people. So, Alberto, what do you say the situation's like in your country, and would you consider yourself to be middle class?
I consider middle class myself as all people, and the situation in my country is changing because of the economic crisis. I think most of the people are middle class in Spain, I suppose. For years, for the last 40 or 30 years, more or less. But in the last times, the economic crisis became a lot of people lost their jobs and became unemployment. There are 25, 26% of unemployment in Spain, and that results that many people who had many things and status and social status can lose it because the increases the money they earned don't come to the house.
So reduced it. So basically, they suffered an income drop, and that's the point I was saying is that because you can, is it possible to lose your status? So if you were middle class, does that mean afterwards, for example, if you lose your job, you're now no longer middle class? Is it about your mentality, your attitude, or is it just about money? Most of you are saying it's about money. So Alberto, you're saying people were middle class, but now they've lost money, so now they've gone to a lower class just because of money. Yeah, but their attitudes have stayed the same, right? Okay.
Firstly, it's about money only. It's only about money.
Yeah.
But when you were in a status, you have one or two houses. The second house for traveling in weekend, for example.
A holiday home. You call it a holiday home.
Yeah, you have two cars in the house. You take the children to a journey or to a course, to a season, to a holiday, to some things that you can't waste, that you can't have the opportunity to do now. The attitude automatically change.
And what are people's thoughts on now? Like, how is the wealth divide changing in Spain? Are there lots of people still with money? So because of the economy and stuff, is there wealth divide increasing, meaning people are making money out of this, and also people are losing a lot of money? So would you say that there's an increasing wealth gap in Spain? Or has everything gone, has it gone like that? Or has it gone like that? Do you know what I mean? So the wealth,
I understand you, but rich people is always rich, and rich people usually became richer, and poor people is poorer, and then the difference between them is highly.
Yeah, it's increasing. Yeah, so it's increasing. It's going like that. Yeah, so. People like politicians always have the money out of these things, yeah? So, okay, that's interesting. Chao, what do you say about the situation in China? Furthering on to our Facebook thing.
According to what?
Furthering on to our Facebook thing, yeah? So you were saying there's a big divide. Like, for example, similar maybe in Spain, apart from maybe the unemployment, right?
Yeah, actually I think the definition of the middle class, let me get back to it. I think it is not just about money. It is also about the attitude and some health care and some education and hierarchy in the society, and if they have the power to maintain the society and the duty of the society. So that is why I don't think China at least don't have too much middle class. I would say they are modest class. They have money, but they can be beaten, and their life can be struggle if they have any accident in their life. Let's say if they lost their job or they got a disease or something, because they don't have a fine healthcare or some, and actually as it is mentioned in the passage, this couple they got the apartment, and they said their salary is just actually average, I think. But from my opinion, if their salary is just in that level, they can't buy this apartment without mortgage.
Checking early with Hugo, and he was saying basically the apartment cost in China is so high. We found, so
high, and you can. Yeah.
Compared with his city, and compared with London even, in Beijing, the apartment price is very high. So you're saying it'd be very difficult to be able to afford it unless you have money. So you're saying, although they have money in terms of like an apartment, they have an asset, their ability, for example, to secure themselves if something goes wrong is low. So you're saying it's also about attitude. So can you be a middle class person without money, meaning it's assessed basically on your capability of making money, or your capability of, or based on just your future, yeah? So, for example, Chao, you're a student, but could we call you middle class because in the future you have the capabilities of making money?
No way. I'm also worried about if I can buy a house or find a job. And this finding a job and whether I can buy a house is crucial for me, not to enjoy the love or carpe diem. I need to delay some gratification and just struggle for my life, for a better life in the future. So I think for the middle class, they have the assets, they have the power to enjoy this time just for now.
But how is it really in China? Because if you go to London, seriously, if you go to Harrods, it's full of Chinese people, Chinese, Arabs, and Russians. Yeah, so these three Arabic, Russian, and Chinese is what you hear going around Harrods, one of the most expensive department stores in London. Yeah, and from this you see, right? Okay, there's clearly money in Russia, the Arab countries, of course, we know this because of the oil, and China. And we see them spending a lot of money. So the Chinese people go to the counters with Gucci bags, lots of money, handing over credit cards, done. Yeah. So we're looking, thinking, what we can't spend this money. Where's the money from? Yeah. So How is it in
They are-
China? So do you notice it in the big cities as well, like this kind of spending habit?
Yeah, they are rich. They are rich people in China, and basically they are crazy about this luxury and something like that. And yeah, they do the rich people. They are the rich people.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the elite. But do you see this in your city as well? Do Chinese people like to spend money, regardless of how much money they get? For example, if it said in the article, there was a woman who earned, I can't remember how much money per year, but she spends every single dollar of it, meaning she spends everything. Okay, so would you say
Yeah.
this is a mentality thing in China to spend a lot of money, regardless of your salary, but to spend? If you earn this money, you spend all of that money. If you earn that money, you spend all of that money. Or is it just a certain type of person?
I think that woman may have a wealthy husband or boyfriend.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
And actually, there is some group they just spend all the money they earned this month and try to earn another bunch of money for the next month. But they are also just the working group. I mean,
Yeah.
they just try to earn money and for
Because
this.
they were saying also, part of what the article was alluding to is if China could save the world from recession because of their spending. Yeah. So, Chow,
Yeah,
could
I
you
think
save the world because of this?
no, I can't. I think the Chinese rich people may help the world with the market, the luxury market or some. Yeah, they can save. They can help the market recession.
British brands like Rolls-Royce and stuff, British brands are trying to open up in China because basically there's no money in Europe and the UK anymore. People are not spending, so they're looking for new markets and stuff. But what do you say of Vyacheslav?
Yes.
Vyacheslav, yeah, is that right? Okay, so what would you say to this? Have you heard much about China, and what's the situation like in your country with middle classes and also how much people spend? Do Latvians like to spend money?
Well, they like to spend money, but they don't have it.
Like everyone, yes.
No, most of the country. We have really bad situation with economics at the moment. And middle class, well, I think there are more poor people than middle class or rich people. So I can send myself to middle class. I have a decent salary, and my profession is, how do you say?
You could say prestigious, meaning
Yeah,
it
prestigious.
seemed to be good, yeah. So people
Yes.
respect it. So you would say in the middle class category, but you're saying there's more poor people.
Yeah.
What defines it? So you're saying in your country it also is about money. So just about money. It's not about.
No, it's not only about money. It's your profession also matters.
Okay,
So
so your
basically-
field.
Yep.
Okay, so that's interesting. Any more comments on anything we've discussed so far? And this can be about China. This can be about anything. Yeah. So anything before we go on. Igor, what would you say? So do people in your country like to spend money?
Yeah, they like, but they do not have. But if they have, they like to spend on some kind of clothes, on things that when you go out would
Yeah.
distinguish you among the other people.
Yeah. So fashion or things like for girls, accessories and stuff. So fashion.
Yeah, and also if you have more money, if you're richer, that people buy cars. Yeah, so like Mercedes, maybe not new cars, but not brand new, but older. Yeah,
Second
Can
hand,
I
we
say?
say. Second
Yeah,
hand.
second hand, but they are quite beautiful cars, quite prestigious cars. So they think that if they have this kind of cars, they maybe one step ahead among others. How we can say this in proper way?
Okay, so they're one step ahead. You can say they're one step ahead of the game if they have better cars. It's just a status symbol.
So they think that they are better, I think, from among the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they think they're better than everyone else. They think they're in a different league. Yeah, because of the cars, and I would say that's so in the UK. Yeah. So as soon as you get Mercedes or BMW, this gives you the right to go in front of everyone else, and
Yeah, and they do often they do not respect people who walk. What are they cross the road? What are they? How are they named? People who
the
without
road
car.
workers. Oh, the pedestrians.
Yeah, pedestrians. They do not respect, and they
And
show
cyclists.
this disrespect. They may beep beep, you or something like that, or they may say something to you. I don't know, something. So they think that they one head above than you.
Yeah. So guys, I would recommend if you ever wanted to commit suicide, but in a kind of enjoyable way. Go to London and ride a bike, yeah? So in the centre of London, because you get all this beeping and you've got to weave in, the cars go to you, it's very, very dangerous. I've done it twice, never again, yeah? So not good for the heart. So you're saying that these people forget that one day maybe they were pedestrians or cyclists, and they've got the Mercedes now and they don't care about the rest, yeah? So
Yeah, and maybe they do not have Mercedes only, but they have Audi, Volvo,
Yeah.
some kind of cars more expensive that middle and upper intermediate. No upper intermediate. What is that? Middle and
middle and
next of middle.
higher. Or what did someone suggest? Middle and above average, you could say.
Above average on the price cars. I mean,
Yeah, above average cars. Yeah, above average price. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they have this kind of cars second hand. Usually they have, because they don't have money to buy new cars. They're very expensive if you buy new, and they think that they are above.
So it's also not about money; it's
pedestrian.
about attitude. So this kind of snobbiness.
Yeah.
So they're very, very snobby. Do you know what this means?
Give me a synonym.
A snob is a high-nosed person. So, guys, I want to show you a comedy. Well, it's like a sitcom. It's not really comedy. A really old one from the UK, and it's called Keeping Up Appearances. This is actually very appropriate. Well, it's a middle-class couple. Yeah, so called Hyacinth. Has anyone heard of this? Keeping Up Appearances.
No.
To know typical middle-class suburban life in the UK. This TV show is very, very old, but it's very, very funny because the wife is desperately trying to act middle class, yeah, and really I think they were working class, but they've suddenly got into this kind of category, and she's doing things like going to funny restaurants. Her name is Hyacinth Bucket, but she insists on everyone calling her Bouquet now, yeah. So it's not bucket; it's like French pronunciation bouquet, yeah. So things like this. She's very, very funny. I'll send you a YouTube link, and you can watch this later. wait. And because her family are actually very, very of a low class, like her sister, for example, they don't work, they don't have much money, and they're slobs. They spend all day in their pajamas. But she's all in her, very regal dress and her pearl earrings. And I'll just send you a clip, and you can watch it later. In fact, that's very good. On YouTube, you can watch whole episodes because it's very old. So I'll send this to you now, and this should give you an idea. Yeah, okay. But in the meantime, Ahmed says he has a problem here. You need some help, just let me know what I need to do, and then I'll help you. So classic Chinese treat saving as a traditional virtue, but nowadays seems... Okay, that's an interesting point, Chow. What is your attitude to saving money? Because Japanese like to save money, traditionally. How is it in what I've heard? How is it in China? So what's your attitude to saving money?
My attitude, or the Chinese attitude?
Your attitude,
no.
and also
Yeah.
general attitude.
Okay, so the generally, the Chinese like to save money, because they save money to, actually the parents save money for their children to to get the better education, and for their, not too much Chinese students earn their own tuition for their university, and they are, most of them were offered by their parents. So parents need to save money, and the parents need to save money for the children's marriage and for the house, or just afford some of them, a part of them, and also the save money for the health if they have a health accident. And but my attitude is, oh, I forgot to say, and they because they save money just for the housing price. It is too high. My attitude is to invest money, make the money become more. And actually, you can't expect your money can grow too much in the bank, because the inflation rate is almost kill the benefit from the bank. Um, so maybe I need to invest my money in some uh, relatively safe stocks or some funds
Yeah.
to make, yeah.
And if everyone's thinking the same way, that's really good for the economy. They're thinking, right, okay, not put it in the banks, let's invest in something, in some project to make more money. And if you think you've got over 1 billion people thinking the same, problem for the rest of the world. Yeah, so it's interesting. So that's cool. Dennis, what would you say about this? Anything that we've discussed so far, or should we move on? I think that's okay, right? So any more comments? Fine. Oh, wait. Zuran, yes, good. Zuran has joined. Can you hear? Zuran? Usually works. Okay, he's dropped out. Okay, so in that case, we're going to the next one. So, Alberto, what is child labour? So how would you define child labour?
I can understand you. Sure.
Child labour, I'll write it down for you.
Yeah. Child labor, but in Spain, you mean?
No, generally. So what
Generally.
does it mean for you, child labour?
Yeah, what is when the children work for money. Yeah, there is a lot of child labor in Asia, in South America, in Africa, and then the companies, the great enterprises get the things they sell in the first world not very expensive, and then they earn a lot of money.
Yeah. So usually we associate it with like certain countries. They produce clothes and stuff for very cheap. But you said just simply when children earn money. So does child labour, just based on that definition, when children earn money, does it exist in your country? So I'd say in the UK it does exist, based on just that definition. Chow, what do you say in China? Does child labour exist?
Yes, I think we have a definition or law about it. It means the children under the 16 years old and to attend some work or some job for a restaurant or for a company or something.
Yeah, so it's the same in the UK, yeah? So if a child works and stuff like this, children can work from 13 in the UK, and quite often most people would try to.
Yeah, it is common, I think, in some small cities in China, and the law don't work. Yeah.
Okay, so even if there is law, then it doesn't make any difference. But lots of 13-year-olds want to get a thing called a paper round, and that's to deliver newspapers to people. They can make some money to go to the cinema and things like this. So most people would try to get these jobs, but of course they're competitive. So therefore child labour exists in the UK, but does it exist in Russia, Dennis?
Child labor, no, it doesn't exist. You can work from 15 or 16, I think. Is it correct to say from?
From the age of, or from 16 or 15 or 16, but I'd say from the age of.
Yeah, but it's not so common, I think, because after your school you go to college or to university, and we have a slightly different situation because it's still there was a still free education in Russia.
Sorry, you have free education?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit different from £9,000 a year. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, university.
Pay $15,000 a year for education.
No, we also have education for money, but in all university there is some number of places for free for students, and if you're quite smart, and if you pass an exam and got you get some number of scores, so you can get a ticket for free. So you don't need to earn money before you go to the university. So maybe, and as a student, of course you can work as waiters.
Like have a student job, yeah? So we call them student jobs.
Yeah. But if to speak about very poor people, of course work when they just after school, they start to work after school, maybe.
Okay, just to bring in some money, yeah? So to get some pocket money and stuff like this. You're saying child labour exists in Russia. If we just say child labour is children working for money, it exists, but it's not so common. Igor, what would you say?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
If to speak about child, it's.
But 15-year-old is okay. It's teenagers technically.
Yeah, it's not
technically
a
child. Yeah, he is a child, really. Isn't it?
And just a particular areas with a very limited duration of time, and so on. It's not a hard work, of course. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can work preferably in if you're 15, so this stuff.
Okay, yeah, so it depends on the work, it depends on the task, but usually it's quite easy stuff. In the UK, it's just these delivering newspapers, which is okay, but you usually give you a massive bag, and they make you go out in the rain and snow, so it's not so good. But yeah, apart from that, it's okay. When I say snow, it's not Russian snow, Dennis, yeah? But still, for us, it's big. So, Igor, what about you? Does it exist in Moldova? Does it exist that children work?
It depends. Of course, here children work. And in countryside, usually children work from very young ages, can we say? Or how can we say?
From a young age.
From a young age, because they help their parents to grow the what on the land is growing. What is that?
Crops.
Fruits and vegetables.
Crops.
Not only, but fruits and vegetables and these kind of things.
Produce, you can say, yeah. But to grow crops or produce, we would say crops, just a general term for everything, really. Or produce would be things like vegetables and fruit.
Yeah, so they help with these kind of things. I mean, they gather with, for example, apples. What you do from the tree? What you do? You
pick.
Yeah, they pick some kind of these jobs, seasonal. They help usually their parents. They do not work in some places for money, but they help family. They have a big place, where you can see this kind of things. And they work all year. I mean, not every day, but seasonal. You know, when you need something to do, they do this kind of thing.
Yeah, you can say that, or you can say year-round. They work year-round.
Yeah, they work year-round, and I don't know. Some of them they like, some of them they do not like, of course, this kind of job. But children from cities, they usually they work. Girls, young girls, for example, 15 years, 16 years, they work as promoters. Do you know, in supermarkets when you go, and there's some degustation. Can you say when they give you to eat sample food? What is
Oh
that?
yeah, I like these places. Okay, so basically they stand there all day and they say, "Would you like to try this?" And you have to
Yeah.
you eat it and you pretend you're interested in buying it, and then you have to walk off eventually, yeah, because you don't want to buy it, you just want the free stuff.
No, but they usually what is it when they give
A
you
demo
sample
stand,
to eat?
yeah, you can say they give you a free sample.
Yeah, so this is the kind of job for cities. Young girls usually they are very, I don't know, beautiful, attractive, so they can speak very well, so they work there and they have a good payment for this, relatively good, of course. But they work when they have these opportunities, because we have companies that you know they sell usually all year something and they promote all year. And boys, usually boys and girls, let's say, they work in some kind of researches. Yeah, they stay on the street and they ask some questions about something, conduct researches. So they participate in these researches. And what kind of jobs? They can sell something in the street, kind of small things. I don't know.
So I'm gonna
So-
sneeze in a minute. Let me find a tissue. That's
What?
okay. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry. I was about to sneeze. Karen, sorry.
Oh.
It's okay. It's gone.
So this is kind of jobs what have young people.
So things to do with selling, and also because I guess maybe they're enthusiastic about it. Yeah. So they're thinking, yeah, buy my cheese. Ooh. Yeah. So they probably hire because they're fresh, and also because they are enthusiastic. Maybe. So that's interesting.
Aren't what?
Are fresh.
Yeah, fresh. And second, what did you say? Aren't
Enthusiastic.
you? And
Usually
the last,
enthusiastic.
and last, what did you say? Or I
And stuff.
misheard?
Maybe I said and stuff.
Okay.
So, enthusiastic and stuff, yeah? So that means and other things. Zuran,
Yeah.
are you there now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Good that you joined us eventually. We were talking about child labour and things like this, but did you follow our discussion beforehand? Did you manage to keep up?
Yes.
Do you have any comments about anything we've discussed?
About the child worker, I think the limit is 14 years old, and after 14, our law says that a child older than 14 can have a partial.
Yeah, so a part-time job. But yeah, a part-time job. So after 14, you can have a part-time job. Then I don't know when you can have a full-time job. So that's cool. And what about minimum wage? So my next debate topic is: should there be a minimum wage? At the moment, they're saying, for example, the reason it's difficult now to get jobs in the UK and in Europe. I don't know. I'll ask Alberto in a minute what he thinks. Is because there is no because there are minimum wages. Yeah, and in the UK, it's it depends on how old you are. So if you're up until 16, you can get £3.60 per hour. If you're between 16 and 18, I think it's £5. And if you are above 18 to 21, it's I can't remember, but it depends on your age. And then normal adults can earn £6.50, I think, or £6.20. I can't remember per hour is the minimum.
What is the average wage? Average.
I know the average salary per year, but it depends on where you live. So in London, it's a lot higher. But in the average wage in the UK, I think it's £23,000 per year. I think.
Per year, yeah. It's like some kind of sales person in a store, yeah, or.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, because it depends. Because in London, for example, there's lots of people who earn over £100,000. If they're people like lawyers, or if they're working in the banks. So they bring up the average. So if you're working in the shop,
yeah, some kind of these simple jobs. Do you know that most of the people work?
So maybe about, it depends how much you work, but maybe 12,000, 14,000 a year, maybe. So something like this, if you work in the shop, if you work full time, I'd say you'll get about this, but of course it depends on the company. So some pay higher, some pay lower. But the minimum you can earn is around £6.20 per hour. If you don't earn this, it's illegal. But they're saying this is a problem now because there's this minimum, companies don't want to hire so many workers because it can be expensive. Yeah, and even if they've got money, they think, right, okay, well, I either hire him, do I need him for £6.20, or do I do it myself? Yeah, something like this. And they're saying it would be good for the UK economy if they got rid of the minimum wage in terms of people having jobs. So, what's the situation like in your country, and what should it be like? Alberto, so in Spain, is there a minimum wage, and is it per hour, per month, per year, or whatever?
No, in Spain, the salary. You mean about salary or about salary for children or?
No, for adults now. Yeah, so for adults.
For adults. Yeah. In Spain, the average is about 20.
Not necessarily average, but minimum. Yeah. So is there a minimum?
Yeah, the minimum per month is about 600 euros.
So if a company pays less than 600 euros, they're breaking the law. Okay, got it. Yeah.
That's the minimum per worker. But there are some laws in Germany that recognize other minimums for mini jobs. Do you have you heard about mini jobs?
Yeah, in Germany.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's 400 euros. So and this is a problem because in Germany there's no minimum wage, and there's this thing called 400 euro jobs. I know when I was there, is that you can earn 400 euros without paying tax, but it doesn't. You can work 40 hours a week and get 400 euros a month. Yeah, which is quite difficult in Germany because it is expensive. Well, it's cheaper than the UK, but it's still quite expensive. Yeah, so things like this. So Alberto, were you looking at Germany?
Yeah, there are not many jobs in Spain for the moment, but all the politicians are speaking about them, and then they will put them in the law, and it could be legal in a short time, I think.
Okay, so they're talking about it, but they haven't put it in force. Yeah, so this 400 euros is quite good for the companies to pay. Yeah, so if you reduce it from 600 euros to 400 euros, immediately the company saves money, and maybe more people get jobs. But what about the workers? So would they be happy to get a reduced payment?
About the minimum salary, about 600 euro.
If you were used to getting 600 euros and then suddenly they said, right, you're getting 400 euros per month, how would the workers react to this?
I think they are afraid of it, and they are worried about it. Yeah, sure, but I think they know they can do nothing about it, because Germany is teaching the other countries in the southeast of Europe how these countries have to teach the economic policy, and then they are tied by hands. It's a difficult question.
it's
Because
very.
I think the people in Spain and in other countries were will be will boiled. Well, the situation will boil. I don't know how to say it,
Will
but
boil, yeah. So the situation will, will boil. You can say, why not? Yeah. So yeah,
yeah, sure. You can watch it in Brazil. Sorry, you can watch it in Brazil now and in some African countries yesterday and so on. And in Europe is becoming this.
yeah. So it's decline. Europe is in decline. They're saying the things that like jobs. Yeah. So for example, in Germany, even I was talking with my hairdresser in Germany, and she was saying that she earns €2.50 per hour. Of course, I didn't ask. She volunteered this information, and €2.50 an hour in Germany is difficult, yeah, and especially when you've got to pay tax and things like this. And taxes in Germany are very, very high, and things like this. So Germany is a developed country, yeah. So we say developed country, and that's just an example because it's the leading economy in Europe and one that everyone's looking to in Europe at the moment, saying, oh yeah, it's an example. But you know, if you're earning €2.50 in Germany an hour, it's quite difficult. So should there be a minimum wage? So Chow, what do you think about minimum wage? You're an economist kind of person.
Yeah,
what would you say about this?
That remember me of some assignment in my economics
There you
course.
go, good for you. Practice, good days.
And actually, as we know, some economists don't approve to have a minimum wage because the producer don't need to hire too much people, and because of the minimum wage, there would be some people are willing to work, but they can't get the job. So the minimum wage may cause some unemployment. But yeah, same here in China. But do you know some Chinese McDonald's or restaurant, the college students work for their just $1.5 per hour.
So it's cutting off a bit. I'm not sure if it's me or something. It's raining, so I'm not sure if it's me or. Can anyone else hear Chow?
Yeah, it's Chow problem.
Okay. I was checking because it's raining a bit. So yeah, sorry,
okay.
Chow, we lost you a bit. Is that okay?
Okay. Can you help me?
Yep, now we can hear you. Yep.
Where should I start?
So
Restart.
you were saying that some students in McDonald's and things like that. That's what you. got
Oh
to.
yeah, okay. Some college students work for McDonald's just for $1.5 per hour. I mean, it is extremely low, I think. But even though it below the minimum wage.
Yeah, we lost you again, but we'll come back to you, Chow. Hold on to that thought. We'll come back to you, okay?
Yeah, he said the wage of McDonald's is about $1.50. Yeah, it's really actually it's just our minimum wage.
So yeah, so there is a minimum wage, yeah, in China, and would there be people prepared to work for say $1? For example, in the UK, I would say there would be people if it meant they could get a job. Okay, well it depends because there's this benefits to money from the government and stuff, but I'm sure there would be people willing to work for example, £5 an hour. Yeah, so really doesn't make much of a difference that pound. So are there people, do you think, Zoran, that would be prepared to work for a lower rate if it meant they could have a job?
I think people
Yeah.
who haven't get into universities sometimes they will accept such a job, but it's not a long-term job. They may accept such a job for a short time just to prepare for a higher salary job.
Yeah. Okay.
All people I know who work in KFC or McDonald's will not work long.
Yeah, they say that this in the UK as well. It's a very high turnover rate. Yeah, so that basically people go for maybe a couple of months and get bored or whatever and do something else. There's like a fill, and there's always jobs at McDonald's in the UK, really always. Yeah, because people go quite quickly and they recruit even before maybe someone's left because they know maybe next week someone will go. So there's always jobs available in these kind of areas and stuff. But Vyacheslav, what would you say about the situation in Latvia? Is there a minimum wage? And do you think it's necessary for there to be a minimum wage?
Yeah, there is. Well, first of all, about children's, we have a minimum wage of 16,
Yeah.
but, well, nobody want to hire children's and pay them full salary.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a lot of unofficial work. So you work without
Yeah, so
paper.
you could say under the table, yeah? So a lot of under the table.
Yes.
So it's done secretly, not quite officially, not quite legally.
Yep, we have a lot of these kind of jobs. So, and our minimum salary in our country is $400, and average is around 600.
But
And
does it happen that people get less than this? So employers maybe break the law?
no, only if they work unofficially.
Okay, so like on the black market and stuff like this, and I mean there are stories of deals like with employers and employees saying, right, okay, well, you know, if it's an official job, I'd have to pay tax. You would have to pay tax, so you can pay me a little less.
Yeah,
but I would still get more money at the end of the month.
That's also we have this in our country. You can get this minimal salary of $400, but without papers, you will under the table, like you said, you will have additional salary.
Okay, so they'll say the minimum, but then they'll give you something on top.
Yeah, but they can give and they cannot give.
Okay, so it depends on the employer and the job.
Yeah.
Dennis and Igor, because I haven't asked you this one, in 1 minute, any of you can answer this, yeah? So I'm leaving it open to you guys. Any comments? How is it in your countries?
It's minimum wage we have, but it's a very small wage. So people usually do not work for that payment. They, demand and what? Demand and offer, not offer. What is that?
They demand and
Supply.
Supply. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
when you need people to work, and that people who comes, who are for you.
so they offer. So they,
Yeah.
I would just say offer.
So if you are not interested, you do not work there, and they will raise that wage and they will find right person. So kind of this thing.
So it's done by the just the economics. We sort out.
Economical laws, yeah, economical basic economic law.
Yeah,
Demand
so
and
this
offer.
invisible hand that Chow likes, yeah?
Yeah.
So the invisible hand. By the way, guys, I've heard that Australia is one of the best places in the world for minimum wage. I've heard that per hour, the minimum wage is something like $16. Yeah, I've got a friend from Australia and saying basically the economy in Australia is doing quite well, and they've got such strong labour laws. So if you want to move to an English-speaking country, don't go to the UK or US. The US is lower than the UK, I think, for minimum wage. Australia's where it's at, yeah. So they're pretty loaded. $16 an hour, yeah, for minimum wage. It's crazy. Anyway,
But
guys,
minimum wage is just for various economic calculations. It's not just for salary. All I don't know, expenses.
they have to pay a lot of money, yeah, to go, and maybe more than the European has to. So things like that, maybe, yeah. So this quite interesting.
Martin, I have a very quick question, maybe
Sure,
not
sure.
so quick, if you don't mind. You just said 12,000 pounds a year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking it's about 1,000 pounds a month.
Per month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not enough to pay your rent.
It depends where you live. So in my hometown, if you earn this, you can live. Yeah. So in the UK you can earn £10,000 per year without paying tax. So the first £10,000 you earn, or 9,900 or something, I can't remember, is tax-free. Then you'd pay tax on 2,000. So after tax, this is maybe £11,500. And you can get an apartment in my hometown for maybe £400, £500 a month. Yeah, so there would be enough money, but it depends on where you live. In London, it's not possible, but in smaller cities, in towns around London and stuff, it would be. Yeah, but definitely it's better, of course, to have a bit more. Yeah, but that's always the case. But it depends on where you live.
Which part of your salary in average you spend on?
So if I'm in the UK, well, it depends. Yeah, so it depends on your lifestyle. If you eat at restaurants and things like this all the time, then it would eat. But you can save
No, for rent your.
Well, for me, I would pay little rent. Yeah, so if I'm in the UK, I would stay at home. Yeah, so I contribute something to the bills, but it's okay. Yeah, so you can save a bit. So maybe you can save £500, £600 a month on a normal person's job. Maybe I would say. At least, yeah, so £500, £600 savings, but it depends on your lifestyle, yeah. So if you travel or you want to do things like that, then you have to spend money. But yeah, it depends on factors like what you want to eat. Food can be cheap, it can be expensive. It depends on if you want to travel. It depends on if you want a big apartment, small apartment, rent a room, all these things, yeah. So if you write to me on Facebook the kind of lifestyle you live, I'll tell you what it's like in the UK if you want. Anyone can do this, yeah. So if you say what kind of job you want, I can tell you roughly if you're interested. But on Facebook, yeah. So I'm gonna go right now. It's been really interesting speaking to you as always, and hopefully we'll speak to each other very, very soon. Take care. Have a good day, evening, night, whatever.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Take care.